welcome to Sky's the Limit. I'm your host, Spring. Today we have a panel of lovely ladies responding to our male panel from last week. We'll also be talking about relationships, standards, insecurity, and everything under the sun. So let me introduce our lovely panel of ladies, starting with Miss Keisha.
Hi, I'm Keisha. I'm co-host of Life in the Wild Zone, and that's Wild, W-O-W.
Okay, and I'm Kiwana Paskins, also known as Miss Kiki the Barber.
And I'm Erin Martin. First off, thank you for having me. I produce and co-host a reality radio show, Bag Ladies Radio.
Okay. All right, ladies, well, let's jump right into it with our first question here. This is a good one. Let's see. This one will go to Miss Kiwan the Barber. Why do people settle or lower their standards to keep other people or keep the person in the relationship?
They're afraid of being alone, convenience, self-esteem issues. A lot of times you've been in a relationship so long, whether it's abusive or whatever, I mean, who wants to be alone?
Right.
And if that's all you know, a lot of times also you feel like you're not attractive, no one else may want you. It's just different things,
Keisha, what do you think about that?
I want to piggyback off of her. I really do believe it's out of convenience. Basically, nobody really wants to be alone. You don't want to, you start thinking about the future, moving forward, and you go, oh God, especially if you don't have children, you start thinking about a family, wanting to settle down, husband, wife, what have you, and you just start to realize, and especially if you see your friends, looking like they're happy on the outside, and you sometimes you want to have that same thing. So that's why people settle in these kind of relationships that could be abusive and just not loving relationships. So that's why I believe so.
Okay. You want to?
The first thought that came to mind, and I agree with what Keisha and Keith said, but I think love also is a factor. I mean, love is a powerful thing. It's a powerful emotion, and it causes you, to do things that you might not otherwise do, including settling. So, I think it also has a lot to do with, just not wanting to be alone, which is a powerful thing too. But just the power and the passion of love can make you do a lot of things that you, might not otherwise do. So
when is it just not okay to settle? Like, describe for me a situation where it's like, that's not cool.
Well,
any kind of abuse.
Right, that's what
mental,
I was.
Physical, sexual, emotional, any kind of abuse. Nobody. No woman, male, should ever be in a relationship where you're being abused. Got to get out of there. Way out of there.
Disrespect.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Disrespect. When you start off with the disrespect in line, like dating, you go through the introduction and everything, and hey, let's hook up and go out. First night, no show, no call. Back talking, hey, another time. Once you start off with that pattern, there it goes. But I think a lot of people have a problem with a respect issue, and just don't even pay attention to it, and your word is everything. If you say you're going to do something, then I'm expecting you to do it, just period.
On our last show, we talked with the guys about non-negotiables. We had the very humorous Octavius, Daryl, and Mo on the show. What are your non-negotiables in a relationship?
Mine, definitely disrespect. Abuse probably would be the first, but abuse, disrespect, cheating, not being able to trust, somebody. Me personally, I'm very big on chivalry, so that's a requirement, of me or of mine, as far as just opening doors, simple things, that I require. But yeah, disrespect, abuse, those would be the two main.
Lying.
Right.
Lying is non-negotiable.
It's the worst.
Yeah.
Right.
See, me online is a little different. And I'm going to be honest about lying because I believe nobody's honest. Nobody is ever truly honest about anything. And how do you expect somebody to be honest when people lie to God? People lie. They lie all day long.
So how can they tell the truth to you if they lie
and who
to
am I? Who
Right.
am I? Exactly.
Right.
So lying is just something for me where I'm like, how can I hold you to that when you lie to your creator? So that's just
Well, and I mean, saying that means that how do you even have a relationship? I mean, at some point, because you have, I mean, I don't want to, you know, whether it's male or female and I'm having a conversation, I don't want to sit down and have no conversation with you and then in the back of my head, I'm like, I don't believe she's saying.
But,
oops.
oh.
We can edit that out.
Quite all right. Keep going.
I mean, and I know, and I'm sure we all do lie, but I'm gonna say this: when I'm first meeting a gentleman, I try to say, not saying something is not a lie to me. Before, you know, I try to put everything out on the table. If I'm, you know, married, if I have another boy, or just whatever the situation is. I mean, just be upfront. And I expect the same thing out of a man, because if you, it's about giving a person options. You could tell me you married, you could tell me you got 3 women, but at least let me have the option.
Lay it on the table so I can
and don't take
my
options away.
If I like you, I'm going to deal with you anyway.
They're going to do
regardless as to who you
They're going to do it.
And I feel kind of the same. Like, I agree with Keisha in that people lie to God all the time, but when you're talking about the scope of a relationship, and we kind of talked a little bit about this off camera, like, I'm not an insecure person, praise God. If I can't trust you in our relationship, then I can't be with you. I don't need to be with you. If I'm gonna be questioning your whereabouts and who you deal with and who you talk to and, you know, the relationships that you have, even the ones that may have existed before me, if I question that, then you know, you're not somebody that I need to deal with. If your actions suggest that you could be doing something, then you're not somebody I need to deal with. But I'm not going to step into a relationship doubting you or suspecting that you might at some point cheat on me unless you give me reason to think that. But if I were to step into that relationship already having that thought, it's almost like where can you expect the relationship to go? Because if you're constantly suspecting that that person might do something to abuse your trust, or they're already abusing your trust, how can you move forward like that? So, you know.
My take on lying is, I've lied. I'm probably gonna lie after this show.
And we probably all have.
You know what I mean? And so I weigh, you know, whether the lie is it a big lie, like, you know, I got 4 kids I tell you about, or is it, you know, I don't make as much money as I said I do. You know what I mean? And then you also have to look at other characteristics that the person has. You know what I mean? If you got to weigh it out, the pros and cons. You know, I don't want to throw the whole, the baby out with the dishwater.
Exactly.
You know, if it's salvageable.
And then too, everybody has their standards in terms of what they're willing to accept. You know what I'm saying? Like, you may have somebody, and like, I think you and the guys kind of spoke about this on the previous episode, where Darrell was like, if his woman lies, he may not necessarily leave her, but it definitely might affect his trust moving forward. And if she were to lie again, that might be the point in which, you know, he leaves her. So I think everybody has their own standards in terms of if they think it's acceptable, but how many lies do you accept before you say, okay, I'm done? You know what I mean? Like, is it just 1? Is it 3? Is it, you know, does it depend on the lie itself? I think, you know, that's a personal decision. Speaking for me personally, you lie once, that's it. You know what I mean? Like, and if I'm not treating you in the same manner, why should I have to accept you doing that to me? If I'm not lying to you, if I'm being faithful, if I'm, you know, keeping up with everything, why should I accept you lying to me? I deserve better than that. So,
all right. Switching gears, one of our male readers asked, would you rather a man be able to provide for you mentally or financially? And we're going to start with Miss Kiki.
Financially.
Really? Just flat out, straight out the
being
box.
honest.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you know what I'm saying? It's life. I'm being honest. I mean, mentally, I have me mentally. You understand? Because a man can think he's doing the right thing for you mentally to himself, but to me, it can be wrong. You know, but financially, it's going to go a long way. Bills need to be paid.
So do you think that if the bills aren't able to be paid, if the mortgage company is calling, that you won't have peace of mind?
Wait a minute.
Stumped her on that one.
Say it one more time.
Okay. Do you think that if the bills are lacking, if there's a 30-day notice, 60-day notice coming, do you think that you will still be able to have peace of mind?